Greetings from Agro. In this video, I just wanted to share some tidbits of a conversation I had with Farmer Chris prior to going out to seeing his farm. I was just asking, I remember we spoke earlier and it was you arrived in 2022, 2021 in Ghana?
I think it's 2022.
2022, okay.
January.
And do you maybe want to share your motivation for coming?
Economics.
Economics, right?
Yeah, I bought some land about a year prior to coming, and fortunately had enough time and resources to actually come here for an extended period and develop the land.
Okay, so you bought the land prior to coming?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, what was that process like? Was it easy, hard?
It was easy for me, unlike most of the land purchases in Ghana, because I bought it from my professor and his wife's, the family, I guess you can say. I bought it from their family.
Okay, so it was like family friends, like they were kin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So a lot of the foolishness wasn't involved.
That's a blessing. You're very blessed and highly favored.
Yeah, because I've heard some horrible stories.
Oh, yeah.
But even still, I had an issue when I got here. Because the professor had passed away and no one was actively here for some years. The old, what would you call it, watchman, who was fired by the professor before he passed away, got wind that the professor passed, and I guess with all those years passing by, he figured he'd start to partition the land off.
Oh yeah, squatter rights.
So him and one of there's no such thing as squatter rights when someone owns the land.
Yeah.
They were seizing unused land, because no one was present. Nobody was there to tell or snitch.
Right.
And so, but they did actually. He did make him and one of the sub chief made money from the partition. Right. So that's a crime. It wasn't just like, hey, no one's using it. They actually made money from the deal. So that makes it a crime.
Right.
Yeah. And so by the time I got here, there were, 4 cassava farmers and 3 acacia farmers. So about 7 to 8 parties.
All involved on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
And in doing so, they cut down a lot of the resource that was here. There was about 4 acres of moringa. They cut down a model forest. There were crops and plants, mainly trees and herbs from all over the world. They cut all that stuff down and planted
forest.
Yeah, it was the global model forest is what the professor called it. Yeah.
Oh, his
some with the moringa still. It's only all that work if you can see it as that, otherwise it's bush, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was bush in the way of the south.
Yeah.
But you can still see some residue, some like traces of this here. Like most of that is gone. Most of it.
See, and that's why I feel
that's what happens in Ghana.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like my passion and calling is I notice that it's not so much just like blatant disrespect, just wanting to cut out everything. There really is a lack of knowledge and appreciation for what grows in nature around us. And with agroecologic is what I'm hoping is we can show that there's a harmony and a balance to everything, and everything is useful, and we don't have to just monocrop everything. Like even myself personally, I have a little plantain, trees in the back, and for about a year or two, I noticed like my helpers, like my gate boy or my cleaner or my driver, like they would come on my property and they'd be like, "Oh, do you want me to harvest those plantains for you?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, thanks." And they would just cut the whole tree down. And I'm like, "What are you doing? I want the tree. Like it provides shade for my chickens. Like it provides, my windows right there. So if I don't want people seeing directly into my window, it's nice to have, this tree there." I'm like, why do you guys keep doing this to me? And they're like, "Oh, you have to cut it down or else it won't, bear fruit again." And I'm like, "Who told you that?" They're like, "Yeah, it is known." I'm like, "No, that's just bananas. Like bananas bear fruit once, but plantains and everything else, leave it. It'll bear again." And they thought I was crazy. And now it's 4 years later and they're just like, "My plantains are bigger and huger than they've ever seen." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because the roots had time to establish and now it can pull in more resources, and now I get bigger plantains." And they're just like shocked. Like they just couldn't believe that I wouldn't let them cut them down, and now I still have plantains. So that's just my little story. But it's like, I really feel like we just have to educate people on what's growing and know the difference between like, invasive weeds or a potential gold mine, and like diversity. It could be a beautiful thing.
I'm totally with like the infusion of knowledge. But what I'm seeing, like from my experience in agriculture, is it's one thing to give people knowledge, but the knowledge has to be a type of motivation, right? And sometimes just what I like to call just straight knowledge, where it's just like more information, isn't necessarily motivating, but money is.
Yes.
So if you can educate to give someone knowledge that they can monetize, that's way more sound and way more sweeter sounding than just like information. That's what I realized. It's like there's a ton of information. You can overload someone with information, but what do they do with it? It's like if I can't turn it around and monetize it, then it's just like trivia.
No, I agree.
I mean, that changes my like delivery. Number one, it changes the message and sometimes the messenger. So those are the things that I've kind of been like meditating on. It's like, okay, well, what's the best way to deliver this information? Like, what's going to make it resonate with this individual? And usually it's monetary for most people, which isn't bad. That's not a bad thing. But it's like, oh, okay, well, you say what?
No, I was agreeing. It really is like money moves mountains in Ghana.
Yeah. So to me, that's the way I approach it. It's like, all right, I can tell people about organic farming, show them pictures online, but until they can like step foot on it and see it and see the money involved, it's all just kind of like, so what, And that's where I've realized it's like, oh, okay, well, if I don't see the thing I'm looking for, then I'm supposed to do it,
Lead by example.
And there isn't.
I always have this idea in my head that in the future I'm going to do like guerrilla gardening, where I like run around and I just start planting random things where I know it will like take over, and just let it like be like a miniature food forest wherever I find like barren land, in hopes that people will see like food growing and leave it alone, because there's so much land around, especially around my house, that people have cleared. I guess they were going to build on it, but COVID happened, and I don't know, 5 years later, I've seen nothing but just weeds, and they just come and burn it every year because they're afraid of snakes. And I'm just like, oh, what a waste of land. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the farm. And if you are too, hit that notification bell so you can get notified once I upload the video. As well, show your appreciation by also hitting the like button. And feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching.